Hello, FXB Midtown. Today we are going to take you on a virtual tour through Hy-Vee. We often do our tours over at the Hy-Vee on 76 and Cass. It's local and convenient, and of course all Hy-Vees are set up very similar, and other grocery stores as well. So you don't need to shop at Hy-Vee to participate and follow through with us today, but that's where we did it. Hy-Vee also has online shopping, which makes it so easy and simple to write down your list, go to your computer, and shop right there. You can get it either delivered to you or they have curbside pickup. And I'm pretty certain, I know many other stores, if not all of the other grocery stores around town, have some type of online shopping available with either curbside or delivery. Okay, so as you see, the overview today, we're going to go through all of the sections of a store and just talk about what some best choices are as an FXB member. One thing I really want you to know is shopping outside aisles in a store is typically where you're going to spend 80–90% of your shopping experience to get those best choices for you. One thing when you're shopping produce, always try and shop the produce that is in that current season. So if you look at that green chart on the slide, it'll show you what produce is currently in season for us in the winter. And some common things that we might buy already are the apples, the celery, the pears, pumpkin, onions, lemons, and so on. So just take a look at that next time you shop. The next thing I want you to take a look at your grocery store is where they have like a shortcut section. Shortcuts are great for just some things. You know, a lot of meal prep and planning is cutting your vegetables, washing it, prepping it, storing it in containers. Sometimes people are willing to pay a little extra for that produce if somebody cuts it for them. So take a look at that. You know, even if you're not buying all pre-prepped, pre-cut stuff, it's certainly a good way to maybe grab one or two items if you have plans for it for the week, where you already have that step taken care of for you. It's also really important that every produce you're purchasing, you have a plan for. Fresh produce is amazing and delicious, but you gotta use it usually within a week. Sometimes things are even only going to last you about 1 to 3 days. So when you're buying that produce, kind of know when and how you're going to use it, plan for it, and put it in your dishes that way. And then, you know, if you see something you really want to buy but you don't have a plan for, put it on the list for next week or next time you go shopping, and go home and think of how you want to use it in your diet for the next plan. Okay, and lastly for this slide, the next best thing from fresh produce is going to be frozen. So buying frozen produce, they have fruit, they have vegetables. I know we're not on the topic, but they even have grains, frozen brown rice. So when you're in that, and it's all in the same area, so when you're in that section, grab a few things that you can keep on hand that'll be great to use for meals this week or when you're planning, or possibly even a month or so in the future. Okay, so when you're shopping bakery items in a store, the main thing here, you want to make sure that on the ingredient list, the very first, possibly second ingredient is going to say whole grain or whole wheat. That is going to make sure that you're getting the most nutritional value out of these items. One great alternative to a regular tortilla is going to be these low-carb Me Mama wraps. So it's a whole wheat tortilla with 7 carbs and 4 proteins. So it's a great base to any meal, whether it's a breakfast burrito or a lunchtime turkey wrap or even taco night. You can use these and then build up your carbs that you need in other foods that you want to use, so you're not using it all up in a wrap. They do have other regular tortillas if that's going to be your main carb. Totally fine to do that. Just make sure that you're buying the whole wheat regular tortilla, that main ingredient is that whole wheat. Okay, another FXB favorite that's kind of hidden are these flat out wraps. Now, a lot of people haven't heard of them because they're actually located in the fresh deli area of a grocery store. So if you're going to the counter to buy your fresh deli meat, you can look right below on the rack or right next to it and you should see these guys. If you don't, ask somebody because that's almost 99% of where they are located. But what they have is they have some protein in them already. So these two options I'm showing you have anywhere from 7 to 10 grams of protein, 23 to 20 grams of carbs. So it's low carb, it's high in protein, and then you get to add a little something to it to build up your macros that fit your FXB numbers. Some things people have done with these are make like a roll up with like deli meat and cheese. They've actually just slightly brushed it with olive oil and baked it or broiled it in the oven to make it kind of crispy to put on the side with like their salad. I've heard of people use these for pizza. You know, you can just put your pizza toppings right on, bake them up, and then you get that pizza flavor without all the extra calories and greasy crust. So lots of ways to use these guys. Definitely pick some up and try them out. Last thing I want to talk about is just your basic bread options. You know, bread gets kind of a bad rep, but most people like bread. I mean, it's something that we should still be able to have in our diets and something that can fit in your FXB numbers. So with bread, the main thing you want to, again, look for, go back to those nutrition labels. Make sure they're telling you that they're whole wheat or whole grain in that first or second ingredient. And that's it. And then all you got to do from there is look at the carb and the protein options that it gives you. And you can notice that most breads have protein, most breads have carbs, obviously. And so you just want to count both those numbers when you build up those meals around them. I do want to note that Dave's Killer bread has been so popular in the last year or so. And I've seen it multiple times out of stock, like at the store. And possibly when I went this week, it was out of stock because it's on sale. Usually you can find it. I mean, just give it a minute. They did have these bagel options in stock. And what's kind of cool about these is the one I'm showing you actually has 13 grams of protein, but it is 40 for carbohydrates for that full bagel. So make sure if that's over your carb number, then you're going to maybe split that bagel up and do a couple different meals for you. And then when you're looking to buy deli meat, we recommend you buy it right from the deli counter, right at the store. Then, to go the extra step, ask for the low sodium options. It's going to just keep that added salt and sodium out of the meat. When you're looking to make a sandwich or a wrap, it's always nice to think of some low-calorie add-ins, and mustard and banana peppers, pickles, all of those things make a great 0 to low-calorie add-in for extra flavor. When it comes to salad dressings, we recommend buying the refrigerated dressings that are in the produce section of a grocery store. These particular dressings listed at Hy-Vee are right above where all the lettuce is. And basically these are made of yogurt. They have no artificial flavors and no preservatives. Give them a try. Let's talk about lettuce. There's lots of different things we can talk with lettuce and the ways we can use it. But let's just think about using romaine hearts as kind of our base for a sandwich or a chicken salad, egg salad, instead of using that bread. They make a great kind of base for any of those options. Also, when you're looking at lettuces, think about buying the darker, greener, leafier options to get more nutritional value, such as the spring mix. And then go into the next step to utilize kale and baby spinach. If you guys throw that in a smoothie with maybe half a banana, some almond milk, some protein powder, and you blend it all up with some ice, you're not even going to taste it, and it's going to add so much nutritional value to those shakes. And arugula is just a fun lettuce to try out. You can sprinkle it on top of any hot dish, chicken, fish, to add a little bit more flavor. The other thing when you're looking at lettuce is they make a lot of variety of pre-made bags and mixes that really are a great time saver when you want to have maybe a daily salad, but you don't want to go through the trouble of making all the fixings that go with it. Just be a little careful when it comes to the dressing in these mixes, as you might want to choose your own refrigerated dressing rather than the one that they provide. But look it out, check out the calories, the sugar content, and you guys can make that choice. Cheese is a great source of protein when used in moderation. Look at this chart that says which cheese is best. It's really just breaking down the calorie content of that cheese per 25 grams of each kind. So really you can use and eat any type of cheese you want. Just figure out what you like, make it work with your macros and your meals. When you start shopping the cheese, you have lots of different options in a grocery store. One great option is just to go up to the deli counter and get that fresh sliced cheese right from them. You can usually even determine how thin you want it sliced. Another option would be to go in that refrigerator section right next to the deli, where you're going to see a selection of feta cheese, goat cheese, so some of those softer cheeses that have less preservatives. With cheese, we have so many convenient options and portion-controlled options. Some great options are the Babel cheese selections and the Sargento, and really any string cheese or cube cheese selections that are already pre-measured out, so you know exactly how much protein you're getting per serving. And it is, of course, important to identify what a serving is. In the Babel cheese, it's 1 piece is 5 grams of protein. In the Sargento string cheese mozzarella, it's 1 piece is 8 grams of protein, and so on. So just read the labels and identify that. Sargento is posted here. It is one of my personal favorite types of kind of processed cheeses. It's always pretty fresh and tastes really good. And one way to kind of integrate cheese in your diet, but kind of use it sparingly, is to choose those thin slices instead of those regular thicker slices, where you still get the flavor, but not too much. Seafood is a great protein source. It also gives you omega-3s, iron, vitamin B, vitamin D, and lots more. Check out the fresh seafood selection at your local market and maybe try out some scallops, shrimp, salmon, cod. Just make sure whatever you pick up, you have a plan for it, because it does only last fresh for about 1 to 2 days until you cook it. The next best option besides fresh seafood would be frozen seafood. So check out the frozen aisle. Pick items up that are what you want, but maybe they don't have any extra added sauces or things like that to add that sugar, preservatives, and calories. Just the frozen filet will do fine, because you'll add that flavor in when you cook it yourself. Shelf life tuna and canned chicken is a great, easy protein source. That is an awesome thing just to have in your emergency kit, your backup kit, in your car, in your glove box, at work, in your desk. Just if you can't get to your meal for whatever reason, you can have one of these guys. Just make sure you're pulling them out and reading the label. You can see the difference here of the one on the top, the light tuna, chicken of the sea, and the buffalo style. You know, the top one does have 17 grams of protein, and that bottom one just has 11 grams of protein and a lot more ingredients. Nothing wrong with those creation ones, because they'll certainly give you flavor, and some people, if that's what it's going to take to open one of those, have some Triscuits with it, there's a meal. Then do it that way. Just make sure you're getting your protein number so you can stay fuller longer. When we're shopping meat and poultry, the number one thing we're looking for is that protein, right? And they all have a great amount of protein. So just looking at the chart, one thing you do want to be a little bit mindful of is looking at the fat content when you're shopping for the meat and poultries. Noticing that ground beef is 20 grams of fat. Up on the top, you have that longhorn beef, that's 3.7 grams of fat. So quite a difference, and obviously there's such a range in the chart, as you can see and identify. And it's not to say that you can't have anything on that chart, it's just use it in moderation so you're not having those heavy fat meats or poultry options for every meal. Check out pork loin. It's a great lean protein option, and you can bake it either seasoning it yourself, or they even have pre-marinated options that make it super easy and simple to make a quick dinner. You bake it for 30 minutes at about 400 degrees and let it rest for 5 to 10 minutes, and voila, enjoy. Chicken is certainly an FXB favorite as it goes for lean protein. Cooking chicken is super easy. Usually the high temperature heat and for a shorter amount of time is going to keep that chicken juicy and delicious. So one recommended option is 425 degrees for 18 minutes. Obviously, depending on the size of your chicken, that all will vary slightly. But one new thing is there's so many people that have Instant Pots and air fryers, And a lot of recipes actually say you can cook it right from frozen. So you can give that a try too. Grounding any type of protein is a great way to really stretch protein out across different meals. We really recommend double batching or triple batching these when you cook them, and just do them with salt and pepper. And then when you pull them out for your actual meal, then you pull out the seasonings you actually want for that meal and you add them in then. It's really easy to stretch that one cooking time and that one protein source through lots of different flavors and different meals. Turkey pepperoni is a great alternative to regular pepperoni. These two options listed, you'll have your basic pepperoni where the cheeses and other pepperonis are, and then the Applegate version is located usually over in the health market. Another great alternative to breakfast sausage is going to be a turkey or a chicken sausage or bacon. Just looking at these Jimmy Dean fully cooked turkey links, you have 3 links for 13 grams of protein, 2 carbs. Moving down to the Applegate version of that chicken sausage in the frozen area, you're going to have 9 grams for 3 links and 2 carbs. Another alternative to bacon, we all love bacon, but let's cut the fat out and kind of get a similar taste, a little. Turkey bacon. You're not going to get a ton of protein in these for one slice. It's just 2 grams, but also notice it's just 35 calories per slice. So when you add a few in there, you might be able to build that protein number up maybe with a couple of eggs and even out your meal that way. The key to shopping for jerky and nuts is keeping it low sodium, so no added salt in the nuts. Choose your jerky products that use organic, grass-fed, antibiotic-free, hormone-free meats. Look for less than 300 milligrams of sodium in your jerky, and give a try to turkey jerky and chicken jerky to kind of cut out some of that fat. And although beef jerky is a healthy snack, it is best used when consumed in moderation. Fat as well. Eggs are easy, cheap, and a great source of protein. One egg has typically 7 grams of protein, so you add them up that way to meet your number. Plain Greek yogurt doesn't have much of a flavor to it, but it does taste very similar to a sour cream. So we actually recommend utilizing Greek yogurt as an alternative to sour cream. Also, you can add some flavor to it on your own by adding fresh berries, maybe a little honey for some sweetener, or you can pick up like an organic fruit spread and add a tablespoon of that in to create a meal as well. When we're looking at Greek yogurt for those convenient options that are already pre-sweetened for us, we have lots of options. So the main thing here is you want to make sure that the sugar is no greater than half the amount of carbs in that product. So jumping right down to the best option listed is going to be the bottom 000 Oikos brand. I don't know if I'm saying that right, but basically this brand gives you a whopping 15 grams of protein with only 5 sugars and only 10 carbohydrates and 100 calories. If you go up to the Chobani options, the one on the right is a decent option too. You have only 11 carbs, 5 sugars, and 12 proteins for 120 calories. Now the one you probably don't want to choose, and this would be the bad example, that's why I highlighted it in red, is going to be that original Greek yogurt Chobani, because you have 16 carbs, 9 sugars, and only 11 proteins. So as you can see, it just doesn't match up to the others. Let's talk about butter. Butter is okay to have in your diet. A lot of people like to think that the alternatives such as margarine and things like that are going to give you a better health benefit, but it's actually been proven that's not the case. Enjoy yourself some real butter instead of the fake stuff. Just use it sparingly and in moderation. Now, if you have a little bit of a sweet tooth and like the peanut buttery chocolate taste, try this recipe for kind of that curve of the sweet tooth once in a while. You can take some vanilla Greek yogurt and PB2 powder to make an everyday snack, and then once in a while, not every day, but maybe add a tablespoon or a little less of chocolate chips to it to give it some texture. And I'll tell you what, it'll be way better than eating some peanut butter chocolate chip ice cream. Enjoy. Olive oil spray is a great invention. You can spray it on your pans before you cook, spray it on your meat before you grill it or bake it, and even spray it with your eggs when you're going to cook eggs. Vinegar keeps indefinitely, so you can stock up your vinegar stash and have all kinds of varieties available for your cooking. Every different vinegar is going to have different flavor options, but just to limit a few that we like to see in our pantries would be some rice vinegar, some red wine vinegar, maybe some apple cider vinegar. So try them out. One awesome way to use vinegars is to make your own dressings. They could be for salads or any type of meal you're planning. Adds an extra flavor and an extra element to that dish. Basically, it's as easy as adding 1 part vinegar of your choice and then 3 parts of any oil. And then you're going to salt and pepper it up to make it have a little flavor. Give it a shake, and that's going to last and stay in your fridge for a couple of weeks. You also can go another step and make one that has a little bit more flavor, maybe a little bit more sweetness to it. And one option is this honey mustard dressing from the Food Network. Look at the ingredients. It's just Dijon mustard, honey, cider vinegar, salt, oil. I bet you have all those things in your pantry right now, and if you don't, you will after this presentation, right? So enjoy. Make some dressings up, keep them fresh, and have some fun playing around with different recipes. Whole grains is a great source of a carbohydrate. Here's a few options just listed in the photo that you can read and just kind of pick and choose the grains that you like and maybe the grains that you want to try and start bringing them into your diet. The biggest thing with whole grains when it comes to figuring out how much you get is just to make sure you're measuring these when they're dry and not after they're cooked. Brown rice is a go-to whole grain. You can get it where it's in a bag and you're going to boil it in a rice maker or boil it on the stove, or you can even get it in the frozen section. That makes it super easy to whip up a meal in just minutes. But brown rice, compared to regular white rice, has a much lower glycemic index. Oatmeal can be a great option for a whole grain. Just make sure you're being aware of your serving size because it can creep up on carbohydrates like any of the whole grains pretty quickly. Triscuits is actually another FXB favorite. Just make sure you're sticking to the original flavor instead of all the added in flavor options that they have now. Those aren't horrible, but we're really looking for the less ingredients are the better. And these plain original Triscuits only have salt, oil, wheat, and that's it. So when you're looking at Triscuits, what can you do with it? Well, it can be matched up with some cheese, maybe some tuna salad, maybe some peanut butter. However you can build up that protein-carb combo for your numbers, have fun, be creative. Popcorn is a great healthy snack. For 1 bag of this Skinny Girl popcorn, it makes about 6 cups, and you're only going to have 28 grams of carbs and 3 grams of protein. Another kind of fun little nutrition hack is to actually sprinkle a serving of your vanilla protein powder on top with a little cinnamon and shake it up, and then you have more of like a sweet style popcorn. Give it a try. As we're learning, the list of whole grains really goes on and on, so I'm just going to show you one more option. These were found in the health market at the Hy-Vee, and it's a quinoa, orzo, and different styles of quinoa. There's other grains there as well. Again, just like any other whole grain, measure it when it's dry, play around with it, and just try different things out. Pasta is a never-ending land of options. I'll tell you what, there are whole grain regular pastas, added protein options, chickpea pasta, brown rice pasta, corn pasta. The list truly goes on. And when you think about pasta, just don't overwhelm yourself. Try one, see how you like it. Look at the nutrition label to make sure you're hitting your macros and not going over, because you also got to be careful sometimes on a lot of these options because they have quite a bit of protein in them just for that 2-ounce serving. Notice that chickpea option has 11 grams of protein in there. So if you're planning like a meat sauce, you probably don't want to use that particular pasta base because you might go over on that protein pretty quickly. But just play around, measure things out, and try new things. Another awesome alternative for a pasta base is going to be to use a vegetable. So one option here is veggie spirals, right? Zucchini. You can buy them pre-cut, often in the fresh area as well as the frozen. You can do them yourself pretty easily. I mean, and they make spiralers just for zucchini noodles for probably under 20 bucks for a spiraler if you really want to get into it. So try those things out. Here's a recipe listed that you can try and just shows you how simple it really can be to make that zucchini pasta. Lastly, a go-to recipe for a pasta base is going to be using a spaghetti squash. Super easy. You basically preheat your oven to 400. You're going to cut your spaghetti squash in half, drizzle it with some oil. We'll take the seeds out first, and then season it with salt and pepper. Place them downward on the sheet and roast it at about 40 minutes. Once it's done, you'll flip it over, you'll take a fork, and it truly is as simple as just shredding it away to make it look like pasta. And it has a great flavor too. So give that a try. Let us know what you think. Condiments can be a great way to add flavor to any dish. So often a plain chicken breast and plain brown rice can only be so tasty, right? I mean, you can season it up while you cook it, and often that's good enough. But if you're like me, I like a little bit of sauce with my stuff. So try out some of these. You have hot sauces, mustards, sriracha, a low sugar ketchup, a taco sauce, those vinegar options, those soy sauce options, pico de gallos, Worcestershire sauce, or sauces. All of those have fewer than 15 calories per serving, and so add them to your dish and give it a little spice. Pickles and any of those canned like jalapeno peppers, canned banana peppers are all really great alternatives to add a little bit of sweet salty to any type of salad or any type of sandwich or any side dish to some other things you're eating. So try them out, look at the labels, have some fun. Most of them are 0 calories to very little calories, and it makes for a great snack. When you're buying a pasta sauce, look for ones that don't have any added sugar. You're going to have some sugar in any sauce you buy from the fruits and the vegetables that they're putting in it, but just make sure that you're not having any added stuff and keep those sugars low and just fresh ingredients. Healthy fats. Healthy fats can actually help you control your weight. They help you feel fuller longer. They help you stay stable in your mood. They really are healthy for your brain and for your body. So make sure you're getting healthy fats in your diet. Now, looking at some of the options here, the oils, the butters, avocados, nuts, seeds, eggs, fish, coconut, fruit, pick the ones you like and eat them about 2 to 3 times a day. And when you have them in your diet, you're not eating a ton. You're eating about a thumb slice 2 to 3 times a day. When we're looking at nut butters, it's something that we want to just be really careful with not eating too much. Look at the serving size and be aware of the protein and carbs, but also be aware of the fat. You don't want to have a whole serving of your protein with an almond butter. It's just way too much fat in that one setting. So make sure that when you are picking out those nut butters, also that you have natural, clean ingredients. And really, to get a good nut butter, you need 2 things. You need nuts and salt in those ingredients. So try some out and let us know what you think. When you're talking about sweeteners, a go-to FXB sweetener is going to be stevia. It's a natural 0-calorie sweetener, and they have it in lots of different ways. One of the newest ways we've seen it is this liquid stevia. So it'd be a great way to sweeten up any type of coffee or tea or any type of drink that you want to add something to, or even dessert. Other options, they have it in more of a powder form, so you can also add those powders in a substitute for sugar. A couple other sweetener options would be to use honey or agave. Now you do want to note that 1 tablespoon of both of these has about 16 grams of sugar, so it's not something you're going to use all the time or very much of, but it is a great way to get some sweetener in any type of dish or drink. Use spices to cook for flavor. We want you to eat foods that you enjoy and flavors that you like and something that can create a lifestyle, not just eating foods that don't taste great. So start playing around with the spices, make your own blends. Do watch out for some of the sodium. Some kind of seasonings will have added salt and things like that. But other than that, play around, have fun, and cook for flavor. At Hy-Vee and any supermarket, you're going to have some kind of section that's geared towards health. This one is called the Health Market. It's certainly not a place you have to shop, but it does have some good finds, and I'm going to point a few out. It's going to give you a lot of gluten-free options, different organic options, different types of pasta, like the brown rice pasta we mentioned earlier. It's going to have these Zevia zero-calorie drinks that I drink often, and they're really quite good. It's going to have protein bars, protein snacks, protein drinks, a variety of different teas, which are also in the other areas of the main market, and just different alternatives with milk. Try the Zevia drinks that are just a zero-calorie carbonated drink that they sweeten with stevia, and I personally like the root beer one and the cream soda. But they even have options that are more like a Coca-Cola with even a little caffeine in there. So pretty much any flavor pop that you think you like, try it out in that way for that zero-calorie, zero-sugar option. The other option is to grab some tea. Tea can be a great way to curb an appetite, to create a flavor in your mouth that might be steering you away from wanting something that you shouldn't have, and really just a nice way to kind of reset your mind and your body and your day, and take a minute out for yourself and drink a cup of tea just to relax and breathe and warm up your body. These are a couple options of a protein bar that FXB really approves of. You have the Quest and the Think brand. What we like about both of these is that you're keeping in line with your carbs at under 25 carbs per bar, but you're really hitting that max protein. The whole point of a protein bar is to get your protein. So in both of these, they have about 20 to 21 grams of protein. Now your number might be less than that. Let's say your number is 14 grams of protein. You know, for once a day to have this instead of another meal, if, within that 2 to 3 hour frame, it's okay, especially because it's likely going to be less carbs than you're allotted as well. So to get a little more protein with a little less carbs once a day, just to keep you held over for that next meal is just fine. The Pure Protein Drinks is the one we sell at the gym. Now, these do have 30 grams of protein in them, so a lot of times people might pour about half of one with their coffee to make it like a protein coffee. You might just drink half at one point in the day, and maybe you're drinking the other half tomorrow. Just make sure you refrigerate it in between. You also will find different protein options. Quest makes these protein chips. So it also, if you're looking at the serving and you just need a way to get that protein in, check those out. And different alternatives to just a regular cow's milk. You'll find a variety in the health market. This one particular we're showing is a coconut-based milk. So you notice that a cup of this has about 50 calories. I don't have the other macros listed. But those kind of milks often will make a good base for like a smoothie if you want it to be a little bit creamier instead of just using water. That's an option. Okay, FXB Midtown, I want to introduce you now to our new line of Farrell's supplemental nutrition products. These products were truly created just for Farrell's with a top-of-the-line vitamin company that really, prior to us, they've only have worked with doctors, and we have now created formulas that are going to meet our members' needs with our diet in mind. We don't like a lot of the extra supplemental stuff that you're going to buy from some of those supplemental stores. I don't know what to call them, but they might try and sell you a fat burner or an energy pre-workout or all these other things that you just really don't need if you have a clean diet. So these products are going to help support that clean eating. Check them out. Use this page to read about them. You're going to be seeing a lot more advertisements coming out for the products here with our FXB page very soon as we're just rolling them out. Really this week. This is kind of our big announcement. So if you do have questions, certainly let me know. If you want to jump in and try them, let's go. Go to fxbnutrition.com and order your own supply right now. All right, friends. Well, we will see you and talk to you very soon. Thank you for sticking around for this whole presentation today. We appreciate you so much, and happy shopping.